Yo, what's going on out there? It's Larry. I'm coming to you with another sports update right now. What we're going to get into, starting things off, this is just, like I said, just going to be a sports update. We're going to combine both the NFL and the NBA and make my picks at the end of this video, but we're going to start it off with the NBA. Right before the season got started, James Harden got traded to the Houston Rockets. Money wasn't enough for him to stay in OKC, so they said, okay, we're going to do without you. They brought in Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, 3 draft picks, and they sent Harden and a bunch of other players that will remain nameless to the Houston Rockets. Now, he signed a 5-year, $80 million deal with the Rockets, extension, what have you. And last night against the Detroit Pistons, he showed that he is worth all that money that he got. But let's not forget, he played the Detroit Pistons, who are not projected to be that very good. Neither are the Houston Rockets. But nonetheless, 37 points. I think it was like 7 assists, something like that, 6 rebounds. And you can see the backcourt working with him and Jeremy Lin. They work pretty well together. Jeremy Lin looks a lot more comfortable working with a guy like James Harden than he did with a guy like Carmelo Anthony in New York. But I think that was more of a product of the system in New York for Jeremy Lin after Mike Woodson took over, not necessarily before that. But anyways, do I think that this trade will work out for both teams? Yes, I do. For the OKC Thunder, you get a proven veteran scorer in Kevin Martin, who nobody seems to think is reliable in the league. Everybody's just slamming his trade like, why would they do such a thing? Let me tell you right now, if you bring a guy off the bench, he doesn't really have to mesh that well with your starting five. He's going to pretty much have his own free will when he comes off the bench. And granted, at clutch times, he knows his place. He's going to get more open shots, Kevin Martin is, when he's on the floor with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, because most of the attention will be paid to them, therefore leaving him open in a similar role like James Harden was. Kevin Martin will be a beneficiary of this, and considering the fact this contract comes off the books, whether you like it or not, this is a 1-year rental to get the job done without having to commit so much more money over the long run. As for James Harden, he gets a chance to be a starter, number one option on the team, have a team built around him, not necessarily him trying to mesh into another system. I think him and Jeremy Lin will pan out great in the long run, but right now it's still a work in progress, but we'll see how things go. Moving on, a lot of people, usually I try to refrain from saying things that shouldn't be said, but I'm a firm believer in people need to be told what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Plain and simple. Everybody that's bitching and moaning about the LA Lakers being 0-2 need to shut the hell up. There's no reason for you guys to be panicking about the Lakers being 0-2. The problem in LA, as I said, since they hired him, has been Mike Brown. Mike Brown is not an offensive coach. He doesn't know how to run an offense. He has no idea what offense is. It was evidence in the first game when Steve Nash barely had the ball in his hands. I mean, he ended up with 7 points and 4 assists. That's not Steve Nash-esque. And the fact that the ball was never in his hands is something clearly wrong with that. Now, granted, last night against the Portland Trail Blazers, it's a bad sign when you have both Dwight Howard and Kobe Bryant both go over 30 points in a game and they still lose. I think that Mike Brown is going to be the ultimate demise of the Los Angeles Lakers, whether people want to admit that or not. Everybody wants to say, oh, the team has to gel, the team has to get chemistry. Granted, that's all going to come in due time. But players know how to play together. Players know how to play with each other. Players analyze each other's games throughout the season. It's what they do. You got to learn how people play. And everybody knows their strengths and weaknesses on the team. Mike Brown seems to not know how to use everybody's strengths and weaknesses on the team. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody wants to try to tell me. The LA Lakers are not going to be good as long as Mike Brown is back on the bench barking out whatever orders that he is. You saw it last year. It was give Kobe the ball and let him do whatever he wants to. Kobe was the floor general. Kobe called all the plays. Kobe did everything that he wanted to do on the court. That's why Bynum didn't get the ball. That's why Gasol wasn't aggressive enough, because everything was run through Kobe Bryant. Not to say that's a bad thing, but when you consider the fact that you don't have a legitimate offense in place for a team, then it's pretty much like, why are you on the bench? It's no need for you to be there. The same thing happened when he was in Cleveland. When he was in Cleveland, it was give LeBron the ball and everybody stand out of the way. That's why LeBron had to wait till he got to Miami to win the championship, because there was no legitimate offense in place. Until they find a way to find an offensive scheme that works for these guys, whether it's Mike Brown or one of the assistants on the coach, it needs to happen. It needs to happen soon. But I think by the time that people figure this out, it's going to be too late, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, Dwight Howard's not going to work," or "Kobe Bryant can't work with him," or any. That's the stupid stuff that people are going to throw out there. But people that understand and analyze the game of basketball will know by watching the offense that you see ran out there. Players don't design the offense, the coaches do. And if Mike Brown is designing this hybrid Princeton triangle offense, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to work. We see that it's not going to work, and somebody needs to do something about it ASAP. Moving on. The other big news, the Brooklyn Nets will have to wait to break open their Barclays Center in terms of NBA usage due to Hurricane Sandy or Superstorm Sandy or whatever people want to call this. Mainly because the subway systems are flooded, so we don't know when this game will be played. That means we have to wait on the New York rivalry, if you want to call it that, between the Nets and the Knicks, which I was very much looking forward to, even though Amari Stoudemire won't be playing because he just seems to be hurt every time you turn around. Another thing that sticks out in my opinion is Eric Gordon. Now, Eric Gordon is out indefinitely with knee problems. Now, we all know in the offseason, Eric Gordon did not want to re-sign with the Hornets. We know that he wanted to go to Phoenix. He said that he doesn't want the Hornets to match the offer, but they did anyway. The man only played, I think, like 2 games in the preseason. I think he only got like 5 minutes altogether. But here's the thing. Eric Gordon doesn't want to be in New Orleans. It's plain and evident and it's clear as day. He doesn't want to be there. He's saying he has knee problems. I haven't heard anything about a doctor analysis or anything like that. But here's plain, cut, dry, simple. Eric Gordon doesn't want to be in New Orleans. He doesn't want to play with these guys. He wanted to leave. He would be the guy next to Anthony Davis. And I think that's one of the things that made him upset, and he wants to get out. I think the man is faking the injury. You can tell on the player's expression on his face. Even as you watched him on the sideline, you can see he did not want to be there. He was not involved with anything that's going on with the team or what have you. And I think he just doing this to buy time for him to get out of there. I mean, they made an investment in the guy. You bring him in. He says he doesn't want to be there, and you still bring him back anyway. New Orleans should have wised up, listened to the man, just let him go on about his business. That way they don't have to deal with him. But unfortunately, they kept him in. That's that. I honestly believe that Eric Gordon just doesn't want to play basketball in the city of New Orleans. I think he's faking an injury. I think he just wants to get out of there, and he's going to try to do everything in his power to not play for these guys. Granted, that's going to probably leave him with a bad mark, but hey, if there's official documentation that's saying that the man's knees are bad, then hey, the man's knees are bad. Moving on. One last thing. Philly fans, Sixer fans, I don't know how you guys are. I want to go up to a Philly game one day just so I can get that experience. It has to be a big game because you guys seem to boo everything that ever comes your way. Andre Iguodala returned with the Denver Nuggets last night. The man was traded in the offseason. It's not like the man asked to be traded. It's just something that happened. And you give a man a standing ovation when they show a tribute video. And then every time he touches the ball, you guys boo him. I don't know how you guys react to things up there, but in my personal opinion, I need to go to a Philly game. Because I know when you have animosity towards a player like we do here in Orlando towards Dwight Howard, we're going to boo him regardless. I don't care what tribute package you show him or anything like that. We're going to boo him regardless. The people that would cheer him are not true Magic fans. I would tell you that much right now. True Magic fans are going to boo the man out of the building. We're going to try our best. We're going to try our hardest to get rid of this thing. But I don't know if you guys are ribbing him. That's a wrestling term in terms of his return to Denver. But Andre Iguodala did nothing wrong to the guys, the Philly fans. And I think that ultimately I just need to go to a Philly game. I'd rather go to a Philly basketball game than a Philly football game because I know football is way more serious up there than it is Sixers team. But I will say this. You guys, you throw snowballs at Santa Claus. It's so many examples that you can give that it's just remarkable to me. I need to be up there. I want to experience this for myself. It seems like it's a very good time. I'm pretty sure I will have a good time with you guys. And I need to go. I need to go to Philly, a Philly home game, a Philly big game in which everybody's like actively involved in the matchups or what have you, because it seems like you guys really know how to have a good time up there in Philly, unlike some of these Orlando fans that I have to deal with here. Moving on. NFL Week 9 kicks off tonight. We have a Thursday night game, which should be a snore fest in my opinion, as you got Kansas City taking on San Diego. San Diego has been struggling as of late after they collapsed against the Denver Broncos, and we really don't know what San Diego team is going to show up. They lost to the Browns last week in a horrible offensive display, allowing them to lose 7-6, but they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Matt Castle is back. He leads the league in turnovers. If they can't somehow find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs with the man who's leading the league in turnovers, something is wrong. I'm going to pick the San Diego Chargers, but who knows? Denver and Cincinnati, this would be a good game. Andy Dalton versus Peyton Manning, two of the best quarterbacks in the league this year. You got a deep threat in A.J. Green, who's constantly making airwaves. You got multiple targets that Peyton Manning likes to throw to, and he's getting more and more comfortable, more and more back in that groove that we've seen him in Indy. This game is pretty much a toss-up game in my opinion. I really don't know who to pick in this one, but granted that Peyton Manning is on fire and what he's doing as of late, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos, even though Cincinnati is coming off their bye week and they're at home. I still think that the Denver Broncos will be able to handle them. Baltimore is at Cleveland. If Baltimore doesn't win this game, there's no questions that Baltimore is not a Super Bowl contender. Moving on, Arizona at Green Bay. Green Bay should win this one. They're at home. Chicago at Tennessee. Chicago should win this one, even though they struggled last week against Carolina. Tennessee has looked a lot more consistent on the offensive end, but the defense is always going to be the problem in Tennessee. So I'm going to pick Chicago in that. Miami at Indy. Andrew Luck is looking more and more like the NFL top pick that he was this past NFL draft. Miami's defense is coming on strong. Ryan Tannehill doesn't look like he may play, but they did put up 30 points with Matt Moore coming in. So I am going to go with Miami along with that defense to win this game. Carolina is at Washington. RG3 has been amazing all season long. Granted, Pittsburgh did shut them down, but Carolina's defense is nowhere near the level of Pittsburgh's. So I'm going to go with the Washington Redskins. Jacksonville at Detroit. Detroit should beat these guys. Jacksonville is at home, though. Rashad Jennings is in the backfield. Blaine Gabbert went off for 300 yards last week. But Detroit can put up points on anybody. I don't care who it is. I look for Megatron to have an outstanding game. We saw Titus Young break out last week, but I think Detroit will win this one. Buffalo is at Houston. Houston should win this one, no problem. Buffalo has been up and down inconsistently against less than average teams. They've been putting up big points, but when it comes to the hard hitters, they've been struggling. Houston has looked amazing. The dismantling that they gave Baltimore was just simply amazing. Look for Houston to have a good game in that, and I think Matt Shaw will have another good passing game against this Buffalo team. Or maybe Arian Foster and Ben Tate both go off. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Minnesota and Seattle. I'm going with Seattle. That defense. Seattle's at home. You can't question that. I don't care who you are. Oakland at Tampa. Tampa Bay is at Oakland. Raiders are my team. Tampa Bay has been looking good as of late, but I'm going with the Raiders at home. They've been getting better offensively. Darius Heyward-Bay is back. Adds another dimension to their offense. You still got Run DMC in the backfield, so I'm going to go with Oakland on this one. Even though Doug Martin did have an outstanding game last week, they do have the extended time off because they played on Thursday night, but I am going to go with Oakland. Pittsburgh at the Giants. This is a toss-up game. I really don't know who's going to win this one. New York is probably going to be playing for the city, granted the after effects of Hurricane Sandy or what have you, all that stuff. But Pittsburgh, we know it's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will always be in the game no matter what happens. I think this is going to be another good toss-up game, but I ultimately see I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. I know New York's at home. I know Eli is Mr. Clutch and everything, but Ben Roethlisberger is just as clutch as Eli. I think this is going to be a good knockout, drag-out game. But ultimately, I see Pittsburgh winning this one. Dallas and Atlanta. Dallas just can't seem to find a way to win games. If they're down early, they can come back, but they will never hold on to a lead. Atlanta has been playing lights out, amazing. They're still undefeated. I think they will remain undefeated after this week. Too many weapons on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia and New Orleans. This is a redemption game. Somebody has to redeem themselves. Michael Vick either has to redeem his career or find himself on the bench next week. There's no excuses after this point. New Orleans is looking really good, really offensively. The defense is still suspect, but the offense has been clicking. Drew Brees is still one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL this year statistically, and I think that New Orleans at home, they will win this game. So those have been my NFL predictions. I gave you a little talked about the NBA a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. I know some of you guys gonna disagree with me. Philly fans, holler at me. Let me know. Is it really worth me going up to Philly to experience what you guys do on a daily basis? Because I think it's one of the most amazing things in hockey, baseball, football, basketball. All that stuff is just amazing. How you guys are, how dedicated you guys are. I wish I was in a sports town like that. But anyways, this is Larry Jenkins, my sports report. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Hit that subscribe button up there. I'll holler at y'all boys. Peace.